Hello and welcome to ABG Sundal Collier Investor Days. My name is Olof Cederholm and I cover Scandinavian biogas at the research department at ABG. We're very happy to have Matti Vikkula with us, CEO of Scandinavian Biogas. He will run through a presentation for about 20 minutes and then we'll end with some Q&A. With that, Matti, please go ahead.
Thank you very much, Olof. Great pleasure to participate ABG's investor webinar. If you go forward, please. We will today, my name is Matti Vikkula. I'm the CEO of the company, have been in this position now around 10 years. Before that, a partner at PwC, and have been also working as a CEO for listed companies and even been a board member, either member or chairman. So comfortable with being this position as a CEO for a listed company. Next one. The company in a nutshell, the company was listed last December. We have now a turnover last 12 months around 430 million, a normalized EBITDA on around 110 million. And in terms of the sustainability benefit or value added, we produced and delivered 320 gigawatt hours biogas last year. And with help with that, we were able to support of the CO2 reduction equivalent of 87,000 tons. And that was made possible by receiving 270,000 tons of organic waste. 5 operational plants today. Next one. We go into the biogas as theme. Biogas, the raw material base which we can use for biogas production is a comprehensive one. Just to name some of them: sludge from wastewater facilities, sorted household waste, industrial organic waste, pulp mill process water, dead salmon converted into ensilage, agricultural residues, manure. Production process is a microbiological process. Microbes and bacteria do the job. The 2 fractions from the production process, one is the raw biogas, the other one is the digestate. Raw biogas you can use as for energy or power and heat production, typical in Germany. You can clean it to be used as a vehicle gas, typical last 10-15 years in Sweden, or you can inject that into a grid if that is nearby, typical in Denmark. And the newest innovation in our industry is to liquefy the biogas, reduce temperature to minus 60, 160, so it becomes the same product as LNG, but it's green. And that opens new customer segments to us: heavy transportation, shipping, and industrial usage. The other fraction, digestate, is often rich on nutrients and can be used as a biofertilizer on agricultural fields and purposes. And with that, we close the circular economy in a very nice way in our society. We produce green energy and green fertilizer without increasing CO2 emissions in the atmosphere. That's what we do and stand for. Next one. In terms of FN 2030 goals, we as an industry support quite many of them, at least these 6 ones. Numbers 7 and 12 are quite evident. We produce renewable energy and we recycle waste. 9 is unique for us. Our facility in Norway is integrated with Norske Skog pulp mill. We receive their process water, clean it, redirect it back, and deliver, besides of that, also some critical nutrients and chemicals. A good example of industrial symbiosis. Next one. We, as part of our financing strategy last year, we did in cooperation with CICERO, a third-party authorization organization, an assessment on our debt capital financing last summer. We received a dark green rating for our debt financing. We did also, in cooperation with ABG, or a assessment as part of our IPO, an assessment on the equity financing side and received the dark green rating as well. And as a part of that assessment, CICERO came also to the conclusion that we are supposed to be well aligned with the EU taxonomy. So very high ranked green, both in terms of debt capital financing as well as equity. The company as such, we have now 5 facilities up and running, 4 in Scandinavia, 1 in Korea. Korea until 2026 will then, after the POT agreement, give it over to Ulsan City. Our home market is the Nordic arena. That's the area where we are looking for growth opportunities. The 5 facilities which we have today up and running, with those we were able to achieve a turnover around 450 million on annual level, including Ekdalen's pro forma, and an operative EBITDA, which is in the range of 90 million plus, and a normalized EBITDA, which is around 110, including some normalization activities. We are looking for growth opportunities in Scandinavia, intend to increase the capacity on 3 sites, 4 projects. In Stockholm, increasing the share of liquid biogas. In Mönsterås, cooperating with local farmers which have an issue with their manure. We use that as a raw material for LPG production. And in Norway, Skogn, we are doubling the capacity at that facility, which is already world's largest producer of LPG. Next one. The value chain, it's always important to understand what substrate you are using in the value chain, or for the logistical services is often niche kind of, say, special purpose vehicles you need, both inbound, outbound. Our position traditionally has been in the middle, the production of the biogas as such, and then the final delivery to customers, typically either we are gas grid or we are filling stations, which is very typical, for example, in the Stockholm region. Next one. Our facilities today, Henriksdal and Bromma, in close cooperation with Stockholm Water, they produce the raw biogas, we upgrade it. Södertörn and Skogn, they are greenfield projects originally. We are receiving the organic wastes, we pre-treat them. We produce the raw biogas, we clean it and we upgrade it and compress it and deliver to customers. And in Skogn, we even liquefy it. And in Ulsan, we deliver raw biogas. We are quite pleased with the utilization ratio of our facilities, but we see ourselves improving the capacity utilization, and thus also enhancing the EBITDA in both in terms of money and margin. Next one. What drives the growth in the market? What we are looking especially for is the heavy transportation segment. As you can see, it's estimated to grow from 2,500 vehicles to 280,000 vehicles the forthcoming 10 years. It's important for this segment to have access to liquid methane, either LNG or LPG, and that is the market what we are especially looking for, not only in the Nordics, but even on the European continent. In terms of the vehicles, so light vehicles and cars, we do believe that the market will go forward, will exist, but we have already seen that the demand is not as fast growing as it used to be. So it's not a segment which is in core in our growth strategy. Next one. In terms of the global energy mix, natural gas has a 24% stake. Always when you use natural gas, you can either blend in with biogas, or you can use instead biogas without changing the infrastructure. Thus, a huge potential, but also a important factor is the demand from the natural gas users, distributors' perspective. They need to assure the green dimension in the energy mix. Next one. Closer on the European market, growth estimated or the market estimated to grow from around 22 terawatts to 90 terawatts the next 10 years, in Sweden to 10 terawatts, and in Norway to 5. Parallel to this growth estimation, also the feedstock, the raw material market has been assessed with the outcome that it's with known sources, known technologies, the market is able to supply the feedstock needed, and in Sweden even up to 15 terawatt hours. Key segments, as mentioned, in Sweden, for example, key drivers for the biogas market the last 10 years have been the vehicle market, light vehicles and buses. Now, given the access to liquid biogas, we go towards heavy transportation, heavy trucks, industrial usage, and maritime. The truck segment is driven not only by the access of the LBG and availability of that technology, but also the major improvements in the gas engine technology. Euro 6 gas engines are fully comparable with diesel Euro 6 engines, which they were earlier on when comparing Euro 2, 3 engines. Important milestone, making it attractive for transportation service providers to use gas engines. For the maritime sector, the needs to reduce sulfur emissions globally and especially nearby seas has led to a situation where several boats have already and ships have been converted into LNG, LBG. And just to mention one ship, Viking Grace, which is cruising between Stockholm and Åbo, Finland, that one ship needs on annual level 300 plus gigawatt hours, which is more or less our annual production currently. Next one. In terms of concrete evidence on the market development, this is showing the usage of liquefied vehicle gas in Sweden. So 2018, we were on level of 5 gigawatt hours, and now 2020 already close to 80 gigawatt hours, well aligned with the growth in the number of gas lorries, heavy vehicles. And what is important driver also is the number of filling stations which are feasible for liquid biogas, liquid fordonsgas. And this is, they have grown from 6 to 23 and still growing. On European level, we have more than 400 filling stations able to deliver liquefied vehicle gas. In terms of our own strategy, we have already 7 years back decided to focus on large-scale biogas production facilities. We are operating the largest facilities in Sweden and Norway, Henriksdal and Skogn. Smaller one, typically the facilities owned by municipalities serving the local regional market needs. The picture on right is our facility in Skogn, which is the world's largest producer of biogas, liquid biogas, integrated with Norske Skog pulp mill. 80% plus of the energy is based on the dead salmon ensilage coming by boat in and then used as a raw material in the process. We are now doubling the capacity at that facility. That's the plan, and first phase of that has been already commenced. Core competence of the company is related to hold technology, high organic low digesting, which is the core or the core of which is in the microbiological process, understanding the key requirements for microbes and bacteria, so that we can assure high yield of the energy in the raw material, the conversion into biogas, high stability in the process, and high opportunity or high flexibility combining different raw materials. More than 400 materials have been tested on laboratory level, converted into customer applications to be used on site level. Concrete example of the benefit is the graph below. It's the facility in Ulsan. We renovated it according to our hold technology, and based on the local assessment, they came to the conclusion The cost level is 25% of the most expensive one, and especially we're referring to the know-how dimension, which is behind this benefit, and we agree with that result. It's the whole know-how process capability. When taking the company forward, now the investment program is important. This is showing how the ramp-up went in Skogn when we commissioned the facility in Skogn. In 6 months' time, we were able to reach 50% level of the capacity utilization. We were on 80% level after, say, 12 months and a 90% level after 15 months. We have also made a greenfield investment in Sweden, Södertörn, and we have taken over a couple of other facilities over in Sweden, Henriksdal and Bromma. So given the overall experience, we see ourselves to have learned very much and especially are well equipped for this growth opportunity we are now working with. Important slide is the situation with our customers and suppliers. Given the fact that the company was established 15 years back, we have been able to develop long-term relationship with suppliers and customers. On supplier side, we have on average 7 years agreement assured for our capacity. On the customer side, it's 5 years plus. And as you can see on the customer side, it's a bit less than 20%, which is up to 4 years, and 80% plus is longer than that. Worth noting is that all these agreements have flat prices, fixed prices, which are mainly KPI, CPI indexed, so that we always know that there is a very sure income and a stable cost level per unit produced. So this means that we have overall a good visibility taking the company forward in terms of volumes in, volumes out, and especially then the margin and profitability. It's very difficult then for us also that when we are looking for new business opportunities, growth opportunities, it's our internal demand that 60 to 70%, around 2/3 of the volumes have to be assured before we take the final investment decision. In terms of performance, I think the most important point here is to the graph on right, which is showing the operative EBITDA, and especially the change from 2018 to 2019. 2018, you see the negative development, which was based on the fact that the Skogn facility was commissioned, and we had a one-off cost of 20 million, which was booked as OPEX, not as CAPEX. So that was the reason for the lower profitability. And then year after, we received the positive performance improvement in Skogn and came into the profit and loss. Next one. This is showing the normalized EBITDA estimate, which is linked to we have made a certain technological improvement with our supplier in Skogn. We are now using 2.0 technology, and due to the changes, we had a lower production level the last 12 months. So the impact is now here included as a normalized, and then there is a impact of the COVID. Especially in Sweden, some customer segments, such as taxi drivers, do not have as much customers as they used to have. So that's one of the reasons. So it is normalized after COVID. Next one. The growth program is described here. Stockholm LBG, a small capacity increase, but especially a conversion of existing purified biogas into liquefied biogas in order to get a premium for the energy. We get better paid for the liquid biogas compared to compressed. The premium is higher than cost. In Skogn, we are doubling the project capacity in 2 phases, and here the Skogn 2 phase is already started. We are the investment program is ongoing, and in Mönsterås we are looking for a new greenfield project with the local farmers, and the intention is that they will own around 20%, 25% of that facility. Next one. Money-wise, this is a investment program which has a total budget of 1.3 billion Swedish. 400 is estimated to be financed by investment grants, not loans, but grants. And out of this 400, 330 is granted, and the remaining 70 we will send the application in Norway later this year for Skogn 3. As part of the IPO last year, we assured the equity part around 300 million plus, and now we are actively working on the debt capital side to assure a fully financed program. So this is the overall facility and growth plan. Next one. When we published our financial targets, 750 million turnover and EBITDA operative at least 30%, that was part of the IPO. But since then, we have also included a 30 gigawatt hour capacity increase, and especially a conversion of additional 100 gigawatts into LBG. These both enhance the profitability of the company overall, and thus imply also that these targets we see as a conservative ones, the original financial targets. Next one. We have our management, which has been working for the company for a pretty long period of time, committed to and have well experienced for the investment program. We have also a new board, 3 new members since the board meeting. Since the shareholders meeting. We are very pleased to have a very experienced board for the company now as well. Next one. And then the final slide, as you see, our cap table, Trønder Energi is the number 1, the largest shareholder. They were originally our partner for the Biogas project in Norway, Skogn facility, and they converted their investment stake as part of the IPO into SPF Group shares, are part of the ownership structure as a leading investor. And then we have Bengtssons Tidnings AB, BTAB Invest, which is a family-owned company, which was earlier a investor and operator in the media sector, but have sold that business and have used now this, converted the company as a family-owned investment company. Have been now with us around 10 years plus. And Ilja Batljan Invest came as a new investor in this share issue last autumn. I think that was what I had on my agenda. Next one is Q&A.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Matti. I have a couple of questions following up on the presentation. I just wanted to expand a little bit, or wanted you to expand a little bit on the move towards liquid biogas. Historically, it's been compressed biogas. Most of your or all of your investments are aiming towards increasing the liquid part. Can you talk a little bit about pricing? You mentioned that prices were better than or higher than the cost increase, but could you also talk a little bit about the customer dynamics, how your customer base changes potentially with this, and the growth prospects with sort of liquid compared to compressed, please?
Very good. Thank you for a good question, Olof. First, the pricing. Publicly known sources, E.ON has a price level for its industrial users of natural gas, and the prices are around 80 Swedish öre per kilowatt hour. And the pump price on the market for biogas at filling station is around 130. So there is a 50 öre premium per kilowatt hour, and this 50 öre is a premium for biogas, but it's also including the compensation for the distributor. For compressed biogas, or say traditionally we have seen that the premium for biogas is between 10 to 30%, and now given the market development, we see that the compressed biogas premium is getting closer to the 10 range, whereas the premium for LBG is closer to the 30% span. So there is a higher premium for the liquid biogas. Why is that? Yeah, the compressed biogas is quite often a regional product. It can be transported up to 200 kilometers on truck, but thereafter it becomes quite expensive. Whereas the liquid biogas can be transported exactly as well as LNG. So in our case, we are already planning to transport the LBG to European customers. I mean, on the continent, we have already signed agreement. It's a distributor, LNG distributor, who wants to include the LBG in the portfolio. So we see the market expansion as a substantial benefit for us.
Excellent. And just very quickly on your expansion plans. So to give us a sense of the operational leverage, when you expand the capacity in Norway, for example, how much added fixed cost do you need in order to operate a plant which is, let's say, twice as big as the current one?
I think that in terms of the fixed cost, there are two dimensions. One is related to the facility level, and then one is related to, let's call it so-called headquarters. On the facility level, when we are doubling the capacity on a facility level, the number of fixed cost is in terms of personnel is growing very little. We are able to use more or less the same organization with a couple of additional recruits or employees. Then in terms of a new greenfield, that's of course self-evident that for greenfield projects, the facility needs to have a new staffing. And then in the group headquarters level, we clearly see that as the company grows, we are not the fixed cost on the administrative level, headquarters level, they are not growing pro rata, rather only a fraction of it.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. I see that we're running out of time. Thank you very much, Matti, for taking the time to be with us today. And it's going to be very exciting to follow you on the growth journey ahead. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Olof, for great moderation.
Thank you.